Ladies and gentlemen, on Ohana, the starting map here for the grand finals, and down at the bottom right-hand corner, battling her way back through the loser's bracket is our purple Zerg player trying to avenge her loss earlier. It's Scarlett. And of course, the person who beat her is up here in the top left-hand corner. It is our orange Terran player from Corunta Esports Club, up 1-0 because he advanced through the winner's bracket. It's LucifroN. And looks like we need to adjust the lights just a little bit. Looks like both players mentioning that in-game, so if we can go ahead and bring those down, then we'll be okay.
Kind of dim down just a little bit. There we go. LucifroN feeling a little bit better on there. Yeah, Luigi was saying actually that they were just a little bit too bright in his series. He actually walked away with spotlights in his eyes. So there we go. Get these players on set up. Especially you want to be at the top of your game for the final. So it looks like we are ready, and there we go. Lights dim. Players ready to pop out. And you can tell there's a little bit in the dark now, but you certainly feel a little bit more at home when you're actually in a little bit of a dim scenario.
I agree with that, and we want to make sure that everyone's comfortable as well. Never fun to have a situation where someone is not playing their best because of things that are outside of their control, you know? All right. So we find ourselves at a rematch. Once again, we've seen a lot of Scarlett's TVZ today, or ZVT, I should say. 5 games of it, as a matter of fact. No, I'm sorry, 8 games of it, as a matter of fact. So we've got a pretty good idea of what she's going to do. If all stands to what she did in the last set, we're going to see that 4 Queen, 2 Gas, 6-minute hatch opening. But she's already introduced a little bit of an element of unpredictability in that last set against Illusion with that Spire, 2-base Spire build. Yeah,
essentially, even though she went for Infestor, she's still going off of 2 bases and then moving into a third, which is certainly the safer play overall. Now, the question is whether or not LucifroN will catch it, and he can do a strategy like Illusion. Illusion being so far ahead in that last game, going for a really quick third command center. That's always a great way to play against that strategy. Just make sure your army doesn't get crushed like the Illusion had in that game number 1. So we do have first command center first, now already on the way, popping out for LucifroN, and looking down at Scarlett, moves into her hatchery. We'll see if she'll want to move up to Gas very quickly. Of course, we have the 2 queens that always come out first, then 3rd and 4th queens. So again, Scarlett can actually, with that strategy happening and LucifroN actually seeing the games against Illusion, she could actually go for the play that she was going for earlier, where she went for a very Mac-oriented play, double evolution chamber, 3rd hatchery, and it might throw off LucifroN because again, he saw those games.
But LucifroN's already switched things up. He decided to do 3 variations of 1-Rax gasless fast expands, if we remember in the previous set. Usually into double gas and then into biomech, but once into pure mech Blue Flame Hellion 2-base strategy, which ended up killing about, I think it was 95 drones in the 17-minute game, something like that. Yeah. Just a staggering amount of damage done.
Well, we are having a lot of resources saved up for both players here. We could actually have LucifroN going for that 3rd command center I mentioned. So looks like he is actually playing a little bit as to what Scarlett was playing in her series against Illusion. So there we go with the 400 resources available. Where is that 3rd command center?
Putting him into the orbital commands for now.
All right, should be getting it. Don't make me wrong, LucifroN. I hate being wrong. Still Scarlett being on 2 bases, falling up at 2x for her queens. She's actually getting a few more lings out. Notice that she was going for 2 lings the majority of the series now. She's getting 4 out. She wants to have a lot of control here. She can put a ling in the top left corner, a ling in the top right corner, and that can allow her to see if any Banshee play might be coming from LucifroN. She's playing very safe now with the lings that are popping out.
And LucifroN did indeed end up going for that 3 command center build. 3rd command center is now on the way. 2 orbital commands just about to finish up, but of course that additional mule, or the additional mule production, I guess if you want to call it that, is going to benefit LucifroN greatly here. His economic advantage is going to spike. Look at that, 4.5 minutes into the game, already taking over 1,000 minerals per minute.
Yeah, it's going to work out for him too, and he's also getting a little more greedy as well, going into double gas after this, only off of 1 Rax. If there was a 2-base Baneling push coming from Scarlett, he would essentially just die straight off, and she is moving into 2 gases at the moment, so it looks like she will stay on 2 base for a little bit, trying to micro that 1 SCV, but unfortunately will be killed off there as Scarlett will dive straight on in. But again, doesn't really mind losing that 1 SCV because of having that 3rd command center out.
Yes, definitely. And of course, that is a little bit of a tell too, considering that LucifroN had to pull those couple of SCVs there, was really late on his production, didn't have that many units out there. And we'll see if Scarlett wants to adjust her build in any way, shape, or form. As far as we can see, though, it looks like she's gearing towards another hatchery here in just a second. Yeah, that's going to pop down momentarily, and is going to hit right at about that 6-minute mark that we've seen from her almost every game.
Alrighty, so there are a couple of options available for Scarlett. She did see there was only 3 Marines on the low ground and no bunker or anything, so that's kind of a tell there that there is something fishy going on behind that wall, and she wanted to guess for it. She could assume that their command center was thrown down. So she could have a 3-base roach ling aggression play that's actually really strong against that strategy. It just all comes down to her stop droning pretty soon. You usually want to do that with about 43 to 47 drones, but I believe she's starting to get a little bit past that point. That's just an option that she would have available to her, but she is deciding to go ahead and go for that 3rd hatchery and just drone on up.
All right, well, SCV's going to get a scout here, gets around the side of those queens, sees the evolution chambers at exactly the same place that she's put it quite a few times, but with LucifroN, with those double factories on the way again, of course, this isn't going to be that incredible, super quick Blue Flame Hellion strike. This is just a little bit more standard mech play as we move towards the mid-game, although we certainly could still put on some pressure here.
Yeah, moving to that army already as well, can start moving into Thor production if he would like. He's a player that if he sees any hint of mutaplay or anything like that, he will constantly produce out Thors, which is something that actually true from IM actually played against him when they had a IPTL match for us this last week. Yeah. He was casted by Kibbles. It was a true went for a Muta opening and then followed up to really strong Ling Bailing, which is really strong against Thor opening. So watch out for LucifroN because he tends to overextend the amount of units that he creates if he sees one type of strategy.
All right, well, this game is certainly going to take a while. Mech strategies take a while to get off the ground. Conventional wisdom was, of course, for a while that you would wait for about 150 supply before you started moving out. Nowadays, the timings are slightly switched up. Some players deciding to go for a lot more passive play and end up waiting until they're almost maxed out and they've taken control of the map. Some players deciding to try and get aggression out there quick with Hellion drops. Well, it remains to be seen what LucifroN's going to end up moving into, but he's already chugging towards those 5 factories.
Hellions are so slippery, man. I don't understand how they get away all the time. They always sneak on by some way, some form. I can never surround it. More Hellions now popping out there. The total of 5 of them. Going to try and just kill off creep tumors. He's not really interested in trying to kill off lane production. Just wants to kill the creep tumors. But gosh, man, we keep hitting on it. But Scarlett is just so good at constantly reproducing that, always being on top of it. And now we have LucifroN finally falling up into the blue flame right away. He has +1 mechanic weapons being queued up at the same time. A couple more factories being put up as well. As he grabs that 3rd base, is able to keep the production.
And LucifroN just does not die to Zergling counterattacks. He's already starting an incredibly long supply depot wall here, all the way from the destructible rocks over by the 3rd, all the way to close off this path here next to the natural. So very cool stuff. Going to be very difficult to try and do damage to him later on in the game. For the time being, though, Scarlett not taking a 4th base, just waiting back for a while. That infestation pit is well on the way. She's got a ton of gas saved up. It'd be very easy for her to produce about 5 or 6 of those infestors while she transitions up to Hive and eventually into that Greater Spire.
Yeah, grabbing that 4th hatchery is really helpful for you here. Going to have a nice amount of larvae available to go ahead and keep up with lean production if need be. Bailing speed being queued up, have lands. All those little fun tech options that Third do love. And look at this, just trying to get around the queens, just trying to kill off the creep tumors. Just Scarlett's did a good job of keeping a patch of lings there to threaten a possible surround. But again, she doesn't want a full engagement either. She just wants to have her creep tumors.
All right, well, that supply depot wall is now finished up, and LucifroN is staying pretty safe. Scarlett, though, with her creep spread, you know, we say it a lot when it comes to games with Scarlett in it, but she's doing a fantastic job once again. About 11 minutes in, she's close to the Xel'Naga Tower, and it's reaching across all corners of the map, right, left, up, and down. So very cool stuff. Blue Flame finished up, and those Zerglings are dispatched up incredibly quickly, and now LucifroN's going to be able to start taking back some map control.
Yeah, as he's getting to the point where he's going to start getting really strong with his composition here, he's getting into a 4th base. He's constantly producing 4 C-checks at a time, falling up into +2 vehicle weapons at the same time. Sneaking in Hellions here, getting a nice couple of drone roasts as well. Very important to trying to slow down that Broodlord tech that will be coming out within the next minute here. Actually, as Hive is being queued up, we have Scarlett also respecting the mech play. He has Roach War on the way as well. So Scarlett, she is doing fantastic in terms of going to be able to have a lot of counters to this army.
Blue Flame Hellions dispatching the creep tumors, of course, very slowly. Nice, actually, little touches there. LucifroN knew it would only take 1 more Hellion to be able to get the last shot on that creep tumor. So he took 4 of them, moved them to the side so they could start going after a 2nd creep tumor all at once. However, all these Hellions eventually get surrounded very efficiently by Scarlett, and she cleans up that little push.
Yep, 1 fungal and a surround. Immediately we'll kill that off. And look at all these tanks. LucifroN now moving out across the middle of the map. Only a couple of Hellions in the mix whatsoever. We do have a Spire now being queued up, but nothing really to hold on to these tanks. It's just pure links. We need some roaches to be in production, but right now we actually have Scarlett joining up. But with 6 overlords on the way, she's going to have a lot of supply available to pump out roaches.
Oh yeah, definitely. But these siege tanks are now getting in a pretty good position. They are very powerful with their +1 weapons, and +1 armors nearly finished too, actually less than 10 seconds away. So these forces are gathering themselves up. That fungal growth really didn't do a whole lot of damage, though. Didn't even really delay the attack from LucifroN, and he's about to take out this 4th base.
Yeah, that hatchery will be going down. And we only have some roaches out, but she was actually really mineral starved at that point, so she wasn't able to create too many of them. There's only like 8 or 9 on the field with some lings. There we go. Now 11 more now being popped out, but roaches are actually kind of expensive if you're constantly growing up into the 13-minute mark. So looks like he will be breaking down these rocks. He wants to get down to this 30. He wants to start setting up. He actually has 4 sea chicks in a prime position here to bait and these roaches to come in. And here we go. A fungal will be landed. The sea chicks are all sieging up, and these infestors are just going to die. Queen taking some damage as well, and that is the power of mech, ladies and gentlemen. The infested Terrans, though, are going to be helpful in cleaning this up, but there's still leftover units for LucifroN.
Yeah, but a lot of tanks did die there, granted, but you see how much firepower is still left in this position, and here comes the next line of Hellions, and now that's just so much red splatter there, the blood. It's gross. And the drones are all pretty lined up down the bottom right-hand corner, finally being surrounded by some roaches and a couple of infestors to at least provide a bit of a body blocker for them. Oh, and LucifroN's going for it, and that's a huge roast.
Oh my gosh, a fungal is landed. That was a nice pay there from Scarlett, but unfortunately too many drones dying off as well. She has sneaked a hatchery in the top right corner at the same time, but the sea chinks are in a position here to constantly keep berating this hatchery, going to bring it down very quickly. And we have a Thor in the mix as well, which is going to help out against this meter transition that she's going for. It's not quite enough because there's no SCV, so the meters will finally clean it up, but he needs some more anti-air on the field. So he's just going to go ahead and bring his Hellions into the natural because he will lose sea chinks, but a nice block here from Scarlett to prevent the Hellions from getting on by.
Really impressive play there to be able to stave off as much damage as possible. Even ends up saving this hatchery in the end while taking out all of the siege tanks. Of course, now LucifroN is moving up to what will eventually be, I would assume, a planetary fortress here in the upper right-hand corner, unless he's feeling very secure and go for another orbital for increased economy. And Scarlett does have this completed 4th base off to the right-hand side, as you mentioned before, but it's still a very rough position for her, especially with 4 Thors and 2 Vikings being produced at a time.
Yeah, he really does commit to his Thors whenever he does transition in them. And they're pretty decent against roaches, once you get to about 8-10 of them, but need to be a little bit on the careful side because these roaches do have +1 on the way. Hellions going to get caught right away. A nice fungal from Scarlett, perfectly executed. Mutas will chase down the Hellion. Hellion, though, a little bit too quick, will get on away. But behind on this, with the 4th base on the way and missile turrets being queued up, LucifroN is on a 4-base economy, and he is booming, man. You can just tell by the production tab if you look in the top left corner. Vikings on the way, Thor's being queued up, a couple of siege tanks now on the way, and constant mech just being available here for him.
5 starports are actually made at the moment. Not sure where all the rest of the Vikings are. They're actually going to have to get back pretty quickly to start dealing with these Mutalisks. Hopefully the Thors will get in position too to deal some splash. No! 2 Vikings aren't actually killed. It looks like he's a little more worried about these Hellions down at the bottom right, roasting yet more drones.
Nice pickoffs there as Scarlett gets off 3 Vikings, I believe, but with losing those drones, going to be a little bit on the painful side. Roaches will finally catch up with those Hellions, but behind all this is LucifroN again, has 5 Vikings at a time. He's going to be up to 20 Vikings very quickly here. His supply is climbing very quickly, 168 to 125. I know mech is pretty expensive in terms of supply, but it's got a quite advantage over Scarlett at the moment, as Scarlett is trying to get to her Brûler tech, but just being on 4 bases and not able to grab that 7th and 8th gas is really hurting her at the moment.
And you see this very powerful mech army making its way through with 2-2 done. 3-3 not on the way, but 3 command centers are being constructed behind this so that economic advantage can continue to grow, especially with this next base falling here for Scarlett.
Oh, the firepower behind this push. Look at the siege tanks as well are sitting next to the Thors to prevent any surrounds from actually happening if Scarlett actually had enough units to do so. She's trying to pump out roaches as fast as possible. +1 is about to finish up, but the upgrades here for LucifroN are pretty darn stellar. If we want to go ahead and check them out really quick, I believe that, +2-2 at the moment. And that's serious firepower, guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he can start slowly pushing these forces in. No real impetus on his part to try and break this position. I mean, because that's the real way that Scarlett would get back into this, if he just kind of suicides his army into a bad position there, because it is relatively immobile. But if he just plays defensive, continues to pick off these ancillary bases on the left and right-hand side, keeps his opponent contained while he goes up to 5 bases himself, not much you can do to stop a mech army at that point.
Well, Scarlett's going to respond by moving into Ultima's Cavern, which is a decent choice if you can get on top of the siege tanks really quickly with the funnels, but the Vikings will be a little bit on the useless side now, as we don't have any brewers being created here for Scarlett, but again, they do hold that air superiority. Now the Thor's moving forward, and look how they're just able to sit in the front. They can just take so much damage now if they get to the late game. There's so many of them.
Yeah, and these Vikings are basically able to protect anything else that would end up swinging in. I don't see the Mutalisks make their way across the map. No, it looks like instead Scarlett's going for a bit of a flank. A few Infested Terrans dropping out to draw some fire from the tanks and hopefully get them to kill each other, but the Thors proved to be just too much. The Vikings even being landed here, and they're going to be able to clean up those Infested Terrans with ease, and now it's a 64 supply advantage for our mech player.
Wow, LucifroN's about to move forward to the third. There are 3 Ultras on the way, but even if you get a great bundle, 3 Ultras will not deal with this army as effective as they would like to. Getting a couple more in as well. You can see that Scarlett is just starved, and she GG's out. LucifroN will be taking game number 1, but effectively puts his score up to 2-0 because he has that 1-0 advantage.
That's right. So he's just one game away from taking the $5,000 first prize here in this best of 5. LucifroN playing really well this entire tournament.
Yeah, certainly. And Scarlett said that she was a little bit scared of LucifroN actually, and really felt that he was going to take the series. And he's showing why, man. The dude. He's got game.
Yeah, no kidding. So, guys, we're going to run to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll see what map choice it is for Scarlett. We'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.